Well, there's been a kind of a change of plans. My original plan with this experimental handle, that's the two-tone, was to use this. But weighing this axe head, it's about 2 3/4, which is a little light for splitting wood. The tendency would be to stick a lot. Plus, the eye on this is really of a size for a boy's axe or a much modified handle. I would have to cut this handle down quite a ways, and my theory is to not modify this one any more than I have to, to leave it as it was designed. So digging in my stuff, I found this, which is one of those typical, terribly abused. It's got a maker's mark on it, but it's right where it's all pounded down, and I really can't make out at all what it is. I just can see that it's there, but it's been badly pounded up here, but it doesn't appear to have changed the shape of the eye. And this one will actually go on very well with very little modification for the handle. So I'm going to clean this one up. It's got your typical beating it off and the ridge from beating it on. She's been hammered, but this is slightly over 4 pounds, which would be a better axe for splitting. If you have too light an axe, they're going to give up. They'll stick it a few times and then give up. I think it'd be a better test of the handle to have something with a little more weight on it. My God, I can almost make that out. Yeah. No, not really. But it doesn't really matter. No matter what it said, it's still a piece of crap. But it might be pretty good steel. Though she's going to take some sharpening. She's really even cutting rocks with it or something. But I think I can bring this one around for their purposes, or the purposes of the experiment. Like I say, it's a little over 4 pounds, and by the time I get this stuff all off there and clean this all up, she'll probably be hanging right at 4, which would be all right for splitting. So that's the current plan now. I'm going to bring that back into shape and see what it looks like then. Then I can hang on to this one, because you start looking at this one, well, then this one really looks like a gem, But I can put together either a slim down handle or a boy's axe handle for this axe. Because really it isn't in that type of shape. It's just been a little bit abused, but nothing like what this one is. I actually forgot I had this one. I wasn't going to do anything with it, but for the experiment, this would be just fine. But when you got that stuff like that, you really got to take it off, or it'll come off on its own and go flying, and that's not the best idea. But I think I can clean that up. But like I say, that was just in a pile of junk, and I really hadn't intended to do anything with it, because once they're at this point, you can bring them back, but it's a lot of work for very little reward, unless it's a very important axe to you. But this one's got no sentimental value. I know where it came from. Another neighbor lived about 3/4 mile away. I bought a box of old axe heads at an auction sale there one time, many years ago. But I, pulled all the good ones out, and I'm left with this. And then there's another one, very similar, same kind of condition, but actually completely broke right across here, from being pounded. So he was driving wedges, steel wedges. But I think for the sake of the experiment with the handle, this is a better choice. And if this one, if they break it, and like I say, throw it under the shack, or it just disappears, certainly no big loss. This one, like I say, has potential of being a pretty good little axe. So I'll see. I don't happen to have a boy's axe handle around, but I've got some thin down handles that I could maybe put on it. But I could always set it aside and look for a boy's axe handle, because it would be a good axe for somebody. Whereas this one, it's only good for, like I say, this experiment. And I think 4 pounds will put more stress on the handle, though this handle would get stressed by the fact that they would be sticking this in the wood and then trying to pull it out. But I really want to test it on the driving ability, not on the pull it out. Because I think that's where it's going to break, is when they're going to smack into something. Well, I need some weight to get that smacking. So I think that's a better choice. No, I didn't think all that much of this axe head when I bought it, but when I start looking at the condition of this one, this looks like an actual gem. But it's light for splitting wood. You can do it, but you got to know what you're doing. And I'm not going to be dealing with people who know what they're doing. Because I could split, like this piece of oak here, I could split it with this light axe. You can't try to split it all the way across. You got to kind of knock off here and then knock off there. And you work your way into it. Now this big axe would be capable of splitting it right down the middle, which is what people always tend to do. I don't know why. I don't do that. I don't try to break a big piece in half. I work at it a little bit. Kind of sneak around it. Just works a lot better. But I always see people, they'll go and they'll hammer right in the middle of some big thing and hammer 10 times and not make any progress. Where with them same 10 blows, taking it in the right order, you could get it apart. Boy, she's ugly. It's going to take a little grinding. And there again, it does have that burr in here. But I'm going to kind of have to hit it with a little sandpaper and see if I can't make out what it was. It almost looks like if the light hits it just right, I can see a T and it looks like an L. But she's badly distorted. But that'll be a better fit for the experiment. And that one I won't have to modify the handle. I bet that baby will slide one on with very little work. Yeah. Where it would take a lot. I'd have to remove quite a little wood to get this one to go on there, because it's much smaller. And if I was taking a lot of wood there, well, then the only sensible thing would be to take all this off, thin the whole thing down. Well, then I'm getting away from what I'm trying to prove here. So that's a new plan. But I'll have to dress it up. If I don't clean this up, they won't use it. It's got to look like a usable axe. And I can make it a usable axe. After I get it together, I'll try it out a few times. But this won't be a problem. I just got to get rid of the ugly stuff. But like I say, normally this isn't one I would mess my time with. But I think I can make that work.